Alright guys, I might be making a bad decision here, but I decided to take the boat out on the water. It is definitely not really ready, but I need to test it out a little bit before I make any more decisions on it. So I'm gonna take it on the lake here real quick. It's running pretty good. It still has a vibration. The noise that it was making has gone away since it's been in the water. So I'm not sure what that means. I honestly think the jet drive is, the bushings in it are wore out, and I think that's causing the vibration. I did check the oil and I greased it, so we're gonna take it out on the lake here. So, all right guys, I'm on the lake. It doesn't seem to be pulling enough fuel for the carburetor. I don't know how much gas is in this, and I don't know how good the tanks are. So I'm gonna limp it back and see what else I can do with it. It does still have the vibration at speeds. It's a little better at higher speeds. It kind of goes away, but it does still have the vibration. So, all right, I'm gonna see if I can video while going. So let me crank it up. The jet drive's a little different to get used to. I'm used to an outboard with a neutral. All right. This thing back up and well, I can make it in. All right, let me try to get this thing in. So this is how I've ended up. It died in the canal. So at least I'm not out in the lake. So there is still something wrong with the starter. It's a bad spot. It doesn't want to engage. So I still have to figure that out. But let me get this thing loaded up and out of here. All right guys, this is about 2 or 3 days, actually maybe 4, since I took the boat on the water. Made it back. The boat did break down quite a few times. There was a fuel delivery issue, which I've scoped the tank since then. The tank actually looks pretty clean. I just don't think it had enough fuel in it. When I got the boat, I was told it had 10 gallons in it, but it definitely doesn't. It's way less. I think it might be 10 gallons per tank, but I don't think there's any fuel in it before, so I think it's sucking air at the pickup. But the tanks did look pretty clean. I haven't put any more fuel in it because the jet drive or something in the coupling system is definitely vibrating. It did not make the awful noise on the water, so I actually think the pump is bad, or the vibration is going away because something's loading up, like the little drive shaft is loading up or something. So what am I going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take the pump off and do some inspection on it and see if the bearing and the bushings need to be replaced in it. It needs to be gone through anyway. There's no telling how old it's been. The one good thing is the motor did run good. The boat, I never put it to the floor, but it scoots. At one point I got it up to, I think, about 55 miles an hour. My final run I hit 40, and I went way faster the previous runs, and I was quite surprised. So let me go ahead and start taking the cables off and all the linkage, and start taking the pump out. if I run into any problems during the process, I'll bring you guys back in. I'm probably going to set you up on time lapse and just let it go. Basically, the way it works is you take your cables off, your steering cable, and your nozzle direction cable for reverse and forward, and then I don't know if I'm going to take. I have to take the arm off, but I don't know if I'm going to take the nozzle off. I'm going to see if it'll fit around this. This housing comes off and slides backwards, so I'm going to see if it'll fit around that. The scag has been broken, or rudder, or whatever you want to call it, on these. It's broke off, so I might be able to sneak it around that, or just take it off. It's just one bolt, but we'll go from there. If we run into problems, I'll bring you guys back in. I was hoping not to have to do this, but there's something definitely wrong, and there's definitely something wrong with the starter too, because the starter won't engage now. So I don't know if it's a wrong starter. If I remember right, the teeth pattern was correct, but maybe there's something wrong with the flywheel. Maybe the flywheel is loose and that's where the vibration's coming from. I'm not sure, but it needs to come out, and I think it'll be easier to pull the jet drive out, especially since it needs to be inspected, than to pull the motor out. But also, this is a three points setup. It has 2 motor mounts up front, and then it mounts off the jet drive in the back. So I will have to wedge some stuff underneath there to support the motor. I do have a engine lift that can reach in here, and I can pick the motor up a little bit, just to get some pressure off of it, and then I can slide some Dunnage or some 2x4s or something underneath it to help support it. So, but all right, let me get going. Set you guys up on time lapse. All right, guys, I'm having a good bit of problems here. So, my main problem is this nut. So, this is a spring in here, and it looks like it was supposed to have a little bit of give and spring, but somebody has cranked it down to where it's in the housing, and I don't know how they did that, but I can't get it out. So what I was trying to do is take the arm off, which was stuck, but I was able to get that off, and try to like flip this over to where I could get it over here. But this cable is so like crappy, I can't get it to flip over. So I'm gonna let this arm cool down a little bit. I already got the steering detached. That wasn't that difficult. You gotta take this nut off and push it through. There is a gasket back here you're supposed to replace, and it definitely looks like it needs to be replaced. So let me let that cool down a little bit, and then I'm gonna try to get this nut off. If I can't get this nut off, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the whole directional assembly off for reverse and stuff. I'm just gonna knock these pins out. They probably need to be taken out anyway, but yeah, I just try to knock them out. I don't know if the guy that owns this wants to have this painted again. It probably needs it. I will definitely repaint this arm that I kind of heated up and messed up the paint on, but I don't know if he wants to. It honestly needs to be like powder coated or something. I don't know. Never done powder coating, but it definitely needs something. There's already some oxidization from aluminum around here, and I'm sure there's some other areas that it needs to be taken care of, but I'll let him make that decision. So once I get this off, I should be able to get this off. There's flathead screws here with nuts on the inside. What I'm going to try to do is, I'm hoping there's enough sealant. I try to hit them with a little impact driver and take the nuts off, and hopefully the screws don't spin. If they do, I'll call somebody or get somebody out here to help hold the screws while I take those off. Once I get it off, you can see the silicone. I'll have to cut the silicone off. There's supposed to be a gasket behind here, but from what I understand, a lot of people just silicone them on. which I think is what's been done. So, but let me try to get this nut off. I don't think I'm gonna film it. I'm just gonna try to do whatever I can do to get it off. So, all right, guys, I'll bring you back when something exciting happens. All right, guys, I got it off. I heated up the bolt with a torch, got it hot, and sprayed some lubricant in there, and it came loose pretty easily. I did have to put a wrench on the shaft here, but it didn't seem to gall it up too bad, and this cable's getting replaced anyway. As you can see, it's taped up. It's pretty bad. So let me keep going. I'm gonna go ahead and take this arm off. I do want to pull the cable out. You gotta pull it out of the housing, but I want to pull it out because I want to see what see if there's any part numbers on it and see what cable to order. I'm gonna do the same thing with the steering because the steering one's pretty bad too. I'll take you inside and you can look at this. So you can see it's all rusted and split. I'm shocked that it worked at all. The shift cable isn't as bad except for the outside, but they both need to be replaced. They're super brittle. The throttle cable seems to be okay, and I think this is the only cables. So, all right, let me keep going on this. All right, guys, don't tape your cables up. So this has clearly been broken for a while. They have quite a few layers of duct tape and then this yellow tape on the outside. It won't go through the hole, so I have to take it off, but this is a mess. It is completely sticky. The cable, all it did was seal in moisture, so all you were doing is asking to break down on the water and be stranded. So, same with the steering one. It's really bad on the inside. So, if your cables start going, just replace them. They're about $100. So, I'm hoping to find a part number on this somewhere, but with all this junk on here, I don't know. Maybe on the inside. So, but let me keep going to get this off. I just figured I'd share that little bit of wisdom. Don't do this. I've actually had a cable break, steering cable break when I was in the water, and it was pretty rough getting back. So, go ahead and replace them, guys. All right, I got the steering out. Here it is. There is a gasket on here. I think they siliconed in as well. It's like a crush gasket. It slides in and you crush it with the nut that goes on the outside. I did have to cut and rip the outside off. It's pretty petrified. It didn't want to push back through. So you can also leave this tube in. I do recommend you replacing the gasket when you're already taking this apart. You might as well and take it apart here. But I couldn't get this nut off, so I'm gonna have to work at it a little bit and get this loose. But it was easier just to take the nut off and push it through. So right now I'm taking this. I believe it's supposed to be a gasket, but this is just silicone. I'm just pulling it from around the edge. It's actually been coming off pretty nicely. Let's go to this side. It was already broke loose some, so I didn't run a razor blade around it, and it started pulling loose pretty easily. I say that, and then watch me get to the end here, and it just be a pain. But I'm just gently pulling it and letting it break loose on its own. This doesn't, I can't tell if this was sealing good or not. There was a leak or something in the boat where water was coming in. It was a very small leak, but I did notice it, and I'm not sure if it's from the cooling hoses or what. It might have been from here. There was a pretty good gap in there, but now that I got that loose, there's some plastic in there. I can start taking the that mounting housing off. Your pump will not fall if you take this off. It's still bolted to the floor. So I'm gonna go ahead and take these off. I'm hoping I can just hit it with an impact on the inside. Let me show you the screws. So let's see. Here are the screws that go through the transom. Like I said, I'm hoping to just be able to hit it with an impact and be able to take them off and the screws don't spin. If they do, I'll get somebody out here to help me and hold the screws. So they're on both sides. Let me see, I don't know if there's any on the bottom. Hopefully there's not. Oh, what is that? Let's see what's on the bottom here. There are bolts on the bottom, so that might be easy. I might try to take this off first. So, but let me get out of here. All right, guys. All right, so I'm getting pretty lucky here. These well, I said that, and there we go. They're coming out pretty easy. So there's oh, you can't see it. There's must be a fair bit of silicone or something holding the screws in. So this should make it pretty easy. You can do it by myself. So maybe if you guys are doing this at home and you have one of these, you get just as lucky. There should be some kind of silicone in there. So all right, let me keep going, taking these out because there's stuff on them. They're kind of tight in the socket. But so in the bottom of the transom, there were 2 wood screws. These weren't bolts like I thought they were. They're anchor wood screws. So what I'm gonna try to do is find at least some stainless. Well, I'll try to find some stainless ones. I don't know if they make them. I believe they make some galvanized ones, which I might try. And what I'll probably do is I'll probably try to paint them and silicone the holes as best I can and go from there. They did come out like they had some grip or some force, so there's still some wood underneath there. It doesn't seem like it's rotten, which is good. So but and then like I said, the screws, these flathead screws are definitely siliconed in. They're definitely siliconed in, so they're holding really well, and the nuts are coming off. I'm gonna stick everything in my sonic cleaner to get them all clean and nice and new. But I have a few more to take out. But hopefully I get lucky with all of them. And once I get them out, I'll take them out on this side, and then I'll cut the silicone and start prying this housing off. Once I get that open, it gets really open in there, and I'll just have some bolts for the pickup underneath. It just bolts on, and it should be able to take this right out. I'm hoping to be able to work it around this housing, around all this. I think it can. It looks like it's smaller, so with this not having the fin on the bottom, with it being broke off, it's definitely making it a lot easier. But I don't know if the owner was going to replace the fin. He kind of acted like he wasn't going to, but I will say this thing is kind of hard to steer at low speeds, and I think that's where that fin comes in handy. So he was worried about breaking it off again, but this boat, it rides pretty shallow, so I don't think that should be a problem. But I mean, clearly somebody hit this one. So all right, let me keep going. All right, guys, so grab a nut and shot across the place and lose it. Then so I'll try to get this housing off. I've heard it's pretty difficult, so what I got is I got a couple putty knives and a rubber mallet. I'm just gonna try to ease underneath here. I don't want to peel the coating off. Oh, might get lucky. That's coming off pretty easily. Oh, look at that. All right, let me switch putty knives. I got one with a bigger bite on it here. Let's see if I can get it underneath here. Maybe this one has the gasket. All right. So what I can tell is by pulling this apart, there's not there doesn't look like there's silicone between. They just put it on the edge. So maybe this means it still has a gasket. It's definitely been off before. You can see where there was silicone and it pulled off some of the gel coat. There we go. Alright. And it looks like, oh, they use silicone. Look at it. Alright, let me flip this around. So, besides all the crud, you can see the silicone. Look how thick that is. And I don't know what kind of silicone they use, but it's not very pliable. And this is going to be a pain to get off. But it's all in the housing. We're going to get it off. But I don't think they use the right kind of silicone. This is almost like an adhesive, like glue that hardens. So, yeah, it's like a slug. But this is off. So, I believe you have a couple options here. I think you could probably take the bowl off at this point, which I might go ahead and do. It feels like I have enough room. In fact, that bolt almost felt loose. But I think I'm gonna go ahead and take this off just to get some weight off of this, so that when I do unbolt it, doesn't fall out. I might change my mind once I start taking it off, but I gotta figure out how to get this stuff off. Man, that's nasty. You guys can see how gross that is. No, and I actually tried to clean this out a little bit. I used some purple power on the inside and tried to clean it, but it was so nasty. The engine had oil leaks and there's grease everywhere. But I'll power wash this. Let me just take it, set it aside for now. I'm gonna go and take this nozzle off. I'm already here. It's almost out. I'm gonna go and do that. So, let me get it out real quick. Wrench. This is the problem with having dissimilar metals. Everything corrodes, and it's really good to put anti-seize on everything, and I like to put a pretty good amount on them. The next time I do this, I don't want to have to deal with it. And I don't need to take this bolt all the way out, but I'm going to take it a good ways. And I am going to take it all the way out once I get the pin out. I hope there's not a Woodruff key in the bottom, because I just realized I'm not sure how that's supposed to come out. There's no screw for the bottom. And I actually think it's bent a little bit. All right. Just gonna gently put these pliers on here. I don't want to gall it up. I'll kind of work it back and forth, trying to get the pen out. I like to get different set of pliers just kind of loose and wore out. There we go. The bushings actually seem all right. The pins seem all right. don't feel a groove or anything. So put it aside for cleaning. I'll see if I can knock the other one out the bottom. I'm gonna go get my punch again. I'll try to knock them straight at the bottom. Oh, there it goes. Alright, I got the nozzle off. That was a pain in the butt. The bolt is stuck in the bottom. Ooh, I bet I can. If I can cut this off on the bottom, I can probably get that out. The bottom of this okay? It's got a chunk broken where it's broken, but I think it'll be okay. These new housing, but pin out. Alright, let me get a socket for knock this on the inside. It's 1 inch. It's just plastic, so you shouldn't have to put an impact on it. There you go. Oh, definitely bad. Well, the seals are definitely bad inside. That's why there was no oil in it when I filled it up with oil, which I was expecting. So let me go dump this somewhere, and I'll bring it all in. And there you go. You can see the oil drained all in there and out of there. And if I'm correct, I don't think it's supposed to do that, but maybe it is. But it's definitely milky, which means there's definitely water in it. So, and now that I'm looking at it, it doesn't look like I had to take that off. So, I think that was my fault. I should have left the cone on there. But with the milkiness of it, it definitely means there's water in it. So, let me take the bolts off the back of this and pull it off. All right, this is where I'm at. I got my engine hoist holding the back of the motor out up just a little bit. There's 2 Allens right here and right here. These are what held the bell housing to the pump. And I've removed a couple bolts that are hidden there, and the ones on the back here. You want to see them? So all I have to do is hit this with an impact, or wherever we get these 1/2 inch bolts out that are along here. Unhook this hose, which I'll do first, and the pump should pull out. So I'm gonna go ahead and knock those out, then I'll get you set up for pulling the pump out so you guys can see what it's like. All right. All right, guys, I got all the bolts out. The water line's disconnected. This should just slide out the back here. So let me just make sure I got everything. I don't see anything that would be in the way. I don't see any more bolts. So
let's try and slide this out. Now, the coupling system, the U-joints, just have a slip yoke on the pump side. At least it's supposed to. So, all right. That's not coming loose very well. Some zip ties. All right. Let me see if I can get something. Looks like this has been siliconed down. Let me see if I can get. I'm just going to use a stiff putty knife and try to. This corner here is kind of separated a little bit. So instead of using a gasket, I feel like they used some silicone, a lot of it. Man, it is not letting loose. Let's see if we can get a pry bar and weighs a lot in there. We'll try to get the screwdriver in here. It has a pretty good point on it, so it shouldn't mess up the aluminum. You want to be gentle with this. You don't want to break off an ear or an edge. It is just aluminum. So that's why I'm using a plastic hammer. It's coming up. It's not coming up really well, but it is coming up. There we go. This is so. There we go. Oh, and it did have a gasket. Oh, there it goes. There goes a bunch of water. Should just slide out. Watch your hose, and wires or anything, especially if you leave the faucet end on it or if you have it like that. All right. It's not too bad. It's definitely about 100 pounds. So I got the bell housing bolts off. These were how they had the pumps, the bilge pumps, grounded just right here. No eyelet. That's nice. So this should just... There we go, and it's off. I bet you I'm not going to be able to get it out. But you know what? I can see. Flywheel is rusty. Oh, I think it's got a bad spot in the flywheel. Let me get a light and look in there. It would start, I don't know, about every 10 times it would start. And then it wouldn't. And that starter looks like it doesn't have enough engagement. So U-joint definitely looks okay. But I can't get the bell housing out because of the out drive. I don't know how much I can raise this. Let me see if I can raise it up. I don't want to mess up the motor mounts, but I'm pretty sure they're on a swivel. The bar just twists. I can't tell, but I should have a little bit of play. I'll try to take it up a little bit more. Woo. Oh, it's coming out. All right, it's out. Let me put you guys down so I can get this out. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and end the video here. The pump is out. The motor is actually just sitting on the bottom. This has an oversized oil pan, so it's just sitting on the oil pan on the bottom, which is fine. Here is this, which it did have a gasket, and I don't know if a kit's gonna come with it or not. I'm gonna leave this one on here until the kit comes. Well, I say I'm gonna leave it on here. I'm probably gonna take it out, but like glob of grease. So I am going to, I don't know how this is fastened underneath here. I might take this out, but I am going to take the motor out and power wash it. Or not take the motor out, sorry. Take the boat out in the yard. I'll pull it forward and I'll power wash it and get all this gunk out of here. Do some more purple power before the pump goes back in. So they have these mounts that they had for another bilge pump setup. I don't know what kind. And then they got these that were just zip tied on. I don't know why there's two and a hose fitting. It's kind of, well, I do know why. So they didn't wire it up right. One of these is on a switch. One of these is on a float. I don't think they realized they could run one pump off a switch and a float. So that's what I did. That's why they have this. I am going to remove one of these pumps. I'm also probably going to move it forward maybe, because this actually isn't the lowest spot. Lowest spot is actually in the front of the motor. So, but we got a lot to do. Let me show you the pump. I got the pump over here. It is nasty. I definitely overdid the grease on that bearing, but it doesn't feel loose. It actually feels pretty tight on the shaft, but let me, I'm gonna go and take it apart because there was oil. There was water in the oil. So I'm gonna take the inspection cover off. Sorry, I got you guys all over the place as I'm talking. I'm just gonna go through it. I'm gonna take it apart and see what it looks like. This has to be where the noise was coming from. I don't see where else it could have been coming from. I don't think it was the starter like I originally thought it was. The U-joints feel all right. I'm just not quite sure. The only other thing I can think of is if this is a non-weighted flywheel. Let me see. And I can't see the harmonic balancer to see if it's weighted. That's the only thing I can think of. But if this is all original, it should have the original flywheel on it. So, and it looks, I mean, the way it's rusty and worn, it looks like it is. So, but I'll get into all that and go through and inspect it all. The main thing now is just going to the pump and seeing what it looks like inside. So I've never taken one of these apart. I've checked out some videos. That's it. So that's all I got. But let me go and end it here, and I'll bring you guys back when I take the pump apart. All right, guys.